Hey everybody, and welcome back to Stalevar. It's already episode number 3, and it's the first episode on my channel. As always, I've got two persons with me who are also part of this wonderful collaboration, and these persons are being the wonderful Operateur. Hey there.
Hello there.
And Mr. Silv himself as well. Hi Silv.
Hello everybody, I'm a person.
Wonderful person. That's right. Person 1, person 2. I quite like this. Do you know that from movies? I don't know. There are some parodies in Germany of cinemas, and I love when they always, they put out some people and they just call them cast member 1, 2, whatever. And I love it. Like whenever there's a scene, they're like, oh, and again, it's cast member number 345.
Oh
Well
yeah,
done.
yeah.
I love that. Okay, just as a quick heads up, last episode, Operateur has been showing our initial concept design of the insanely detailed, I might just repeat here, first approach on a little bit of a warehouse and also on the crane, which was awesome, by the way. And
thanks.
Yeah, we also had already the episode where Silv built the coaster, so it's now on me to continue a little bit of the theming. And I took something that I was looking so badly into, and that is the first section of the coaster, which is starting with a Jojo roll. Is it called Jojo roll? I guess it is, right?
Yep.
Which will be somewhat of a Darkride, and therefore I changed a little bit of the coaster, not in terms of layout, but I changed at least the stopping interval of the launch, so that the coaster quickly comes to a stop before it goes into the first launch. So we can have, well, something a bit secret, because you will see that at the very end of this episode in the cinematics, so not even in our recording today, because I still have to cut this, to be honest. But yeah, I made something very simple, but I think it does the job. Somewhat of a little sequencer setting with some effects and VFX and stuff.
I mean, I
And
think
that
that's a
should-
really good idea. It's something that I wasn't even intending. I originally figured it would just roll straight out of the brakes into the launch, but having it stop and do some kind of pre-show is definitely really cool. So, looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah. Also, did you use the stop section on the coaster, like the new feature?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
because that's what the Mac coaster finally
Okay.
has in here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I use, and it was way too hard to do that with the block sections and stuff in the past. So I'm super happy that finally a normal coaster has that. I believe it was only the Formula 1 coaster that had this feature, but the problem with that one was mainly also that you could just build a full flat speed launch, or this kind of LSM launch, which is only pre-built, so nothing really too crazy
Yeah.
there.
It's true.
Yeah, but as you can see, I sometimes I use a different technique to build stuff, and I most likely use this when I have a new theme going on, and I'm searching the menu to basically just throw a lot of pieces down which I think that would work, and then I'm just doing some concept work and just throwing them together, and I will definitely delete a lot of these things in the end, but just to kind of move myself a little bit closer to the theme, I like to do this, and yeah, that's what you're seeing here. So please don't be confused why I put all this stuff just weirdly random in this area here.
That's
It will
very
definitely have its
relatable,
place.
to be honest.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, I'm also, because the menu is so filled meanwhile, like, and then with the Ghostbusters DLC, we got another 400 pieces, and, scrolling through that menu takes a lot of time, and this is why I love to put down somewhat pieces that I...
That's slowly
might use.
becoming a little bit of an issue. I mean, not to go all schematics team podcast on this, but the more pieces we get in the game, the more the lack of different categorization is starting to appear. We get more and more pieces, but we don't so much get different menus or different scenery tabs. But it's not a huge issue. But if some of you guys might remember the good old Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 days, where we had a similar issue and we ended up getting so much modded content that most of your time was spent scrolling through the scenery tab.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes the same can start to happen in Planet Coaster nowadays.
But back then it was until you opened that one mod that didn't work and crashed your game.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, thankfully we don't have that anymore. Also, I guess it's a bit of a luxury problem to have. I mean, complaining that we have too many pieces in the game.
No, I'm not. It's like the definition of a pre-world problem, I guess. Or like, no, it's actually the first world problem, not a pre-world. Yeah. What is even a pre-world problem? I don't know.
That's the beta of this universe that got rolled out before he actually created the universe, I think.
Okay, that's where we got rid of some bug fixes, but we forgot that one huge bug leading the United States right now. Okay, never mind.
Oh yeah, and humans are still very overpowered. I think Tierzu has some good videos in that one. But you know,
and sometimes a bit laggy as well. But yeah.
Oh yeah, totally true.
Okay, I have no clue what you guys are talking about, but I would just go with it, I guess.
Maybe we should come back to the coaster itself.
Yeah, it's really starting up to shape up a little bit now. I have to say, I fell in love with that huge warehouse door, which is actually an in-game piece. It's one of the biggest pieces in-game, and I did use that one. It's actually even an animatronic, this one, but I disabled this to be able to use that as a normal wall, mainly because the texture is really nice, it's really detailed, and you can really, this is a Darkride section, so most of the things in the background don't need to be that crazily detailed, if you know what I mean, because it's dark anyways. And to save ourselves a little bit on pieces, I went with these huge pieces to make really those big walls. They look fairly okay from the distance, to be honest. They look really okay, and yet they don't take up too many pieces. And I will need a lot of pieces in this build anyways for detailing, so I thought that would be a cool idea to have these walls just out of these very huge pieces, instead of using all the single walls and then just, as we always try to get with different textures, we remove pieces into each other. I was trying some stuff in advance, which I was not recording with the pavement pieces from the Studios pack. But to be completely honest with you, those pieces, like I used then, I don't know, 400 or so just for the wall on the left hand side, and the clipping was so bad. I was trying to get rid of the Z fighting, and I don't know, I just ended up with this piece because it was so much easier and it actually looked better. So just as a little explanation here, because I feel like we didn't use this piece, or actually I didn't use that piece at all in Planet Coaster so far. So yeah, finally found a use for it.
Yeah, same. I didn't even recognize it, and honestly, it looks really good. Although, you're not going to tell me that suddenly you care about keeping the piece count as low as possible. That doesn't really sound like you.
No.
Yeah, no, not really. And I have to admit, with Operateur going that crazy last episode, it isn't us to sacrifice too many pieces here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the story of our lives, right? To use that.
If
many
it
pieces.
looks good, I guess it's fine.
Yeah. And we still have cheat engine for the end, so.
Yep.
What would I? By the way, this is what I meant last episode. I was stealing your work there, Operateur. I hope you don't mind, but
no.
I just wanted to get in with a little bit of, different pipe work. I used these huge pipes, but I also figured I need some smaller ones. And as we already talked about that last episode, the sci-fi pieces do actually work quite well in here as well. So you'll see me using a few of them in between. And they kind of mix up the theme quite a bit, which is really awesome.
I think they have a really nice industrial vibe to them as well, which works out well for this steel factory scene that we're trying to go for here. I think in general, just having this scene be very highly themed is really cool, because even though you very often find these little post-station, JoJo roll elements in Gerstlauer coasters like this, they're usually just completely in the dark. So it's really cool to have something which really feels like a Darkride, pre-show kind of section.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. I even brought in a little bit of a opening sequence. So I can already spoil that because it really is needed to see that anyways, but I can already explain. So what I did is, once the coaster comes to a stop on this slightly raised element there, you will have a door in front of it, so you can't really see that it's going outside. It could also be very well the coaster goes to the left or to the right, or that it goes backwards, because you're standing literally in front of a wall. And just after the pre-show element, the door opens. and that's where you're going slightly downwards. As you can see here, I'm already placing the doors, but that's not the final design, to be honest. The final design will be later. Because I figured that I don't like what I made here. I was trying to use all these steampunk pipes here that are all animated, because I tried a little bit around with giving it this kind of engine look, as if you would be standing in an engine. But I don't know, it kind of didn't work out the way I liked it to be working, so I changed the entire scene in the end. But it still gives you an idea of how this looks later on. So yeah. So yeah,
really
now
like the idea of it.
So now you can also see that in the dark, because now it was about time to start with the lighting a bit. And for those of you who might have not caught it yet, because the time was fairly quick because of so much material, and I even cut out even more. So as you can see, these are kind of tanks over here. At least not tanks, but this is the main weapon of tanks that are being produced here. And I even tried to do a Soviet Union or UdSSR styled tank head. I was searching on some images on the internet, and funnily enough, I found that the food section of the mud thing in the game, which is this weirdly AT-AT looking dog in the game, does really have already like 80% of the shape, which is weird. So I only needed to do a little bit of it, and yeah. So this is what this little area is supposed to be like. This is an abandoned tank factory, if you will. So that's the main idea I had about that.
I like the idea. Yeah, it's a good concept. Because I also had the idea to have like a melting plant. So maybe we can incorporate that with the tanks are also made of metal, of course. So
totally true.
Yeah.
So that one,
So it'll be one big industrial complex, basically.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah, I guess that'll be pretty fitting. Are you making a launch section already here?
Yeah, that's basically the launch section, which I don't know. I just felt it needs to be lowered down a little bit, and since I didn't want to lower down the terrain even more, I just raised the terrain around it, and made this little bit of a concrete bunker where it is, just slightly lower down, so you just get the people a little bit below eye level. That was the main intent I had here, so that you get a little bit of a slightly more feel for the different levels here. And yeah, I also did this with some of the valleys of the coaster, so that they also go through a little bit of a bunker part. But yeah, that's just preparation for something more I did later.
I like that though, because usually I never do enough terraforming, because it's quite a hassle to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it looks really good on the coaster. And I feel like launches, they just feel faster when you're in a trench. Like, my favorite launch in the world is still the launch of Terran, especially the second one where you're down in that trench with all of these elements really close by. It makes the launch feel that much better.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's also pretty easy to explain scientifically, because you are closer to objects that you can focus on, and that makes you feel the velocity even more than with objects that are far away. So it's kind of a little trick as well, just to make you feel faster. So it's really cool.
It's very important in urban planning as well, or really mobility planning, to rather than just speed limits on roads, try and get many obstacles very close to the roads and narrow down the roads. That generally makes them safer and makes people drive much slower.
Oh, okay. That's actually cool. I never thought about that, but yeah, that makes sense. Just you need to explain that to the people racing in Monaco, but yeah. Other than that, I get this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, here you can see, I didn't even know that it was still in that footage, but here you can see this is already a little bit revamp of the design of the first door section. So I really wanted to make it look like it's the ground pattern. It's, you can't really see that there is a door. This is what I wanted to do. You basically just look straight onto the wall. You can't really figure from the seating position of the car, you can't see that there is a door opening, and that's what I wanted to do here.
So would you also want to install something like an illusion where it seems like you're going to go straight and suddenly it turns out that you drop down? That would be super cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Also trying to incorporate a little bit of light, as you can see here, that it makes you face towards the wall even more. What I'm doing here. I tried something with the screen. Maybe I'll do this later, but I haven't really done the work in Photoshop or so. So I tried to do it with some VFX effects. Which will work over here, as you can see, and some dust effects that make you, they kind of go together with the launch. And yeah, I was just trying some things over here.
Oh, you're gonna burn the people.
Extreme.
Well, not really. So yeah, as you can see, I ended up with this colored. I think it's fire, but I'm not really sure what this is. And then I just did some trigger effects here to make it appear like as if you would be going into a steam machine, basically. So the idea was you come to a stop here, which is in a tank or in a steam-powered whatever planned engine. So I didn't really scrap the engine idea totally. I just changed the entire concept about it. And so yeah, as you can see, there is like this little burst when you go forward. So you really think you go into it, but then all of a sudden you just drop down into the actual launch. And yeah, as I worked also together with the time machine, you also have this play of light as well with it.
Well, I'm getting some ideas from this already. Because I guess it's going to be my turn next time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. And so, yeah, my footage ended now, but we can keep on talking. I have so much more footage. I just...
oh, really?
Yeah, I have, there's just so much more footage. But I thought, okay, since we're a bit close on time, I thought I'd keep it a secret for you as well, so you can see it in the end. But most of the layout work is done, so don't worry. It's just me doing some more work around the outer part of it and just tidying up all the stuff, basically making the interior look a bit more worn down, a bit more plants and stuff like in there, and yeah, nothing too special. But I think it kind of completes the look. Exactly. Yeah.
So you're basically not touching the outside anymore.
Well, a little bit, but it's not bigger in terms of area. It's just the same area, but I'm just tidying it all up a bit. And yeah, we do it just simultaneously now. I'm just dropping you a screenshot now in Discord, so you get an idea of what I'm doing then in the end, because my computer wouldn't have rendered it before. Wait, where are the new screenshots? We are just doing that live, totally Rudi style.
Yeah, I'm just trying to mentally prepare for whatever this file is going to look like and what I'm going to have to pick up and do something with.
Yeah, don't worry. I think I even sent that screen through, but here we go. This is what it ends with, because now you can see it, but I'm not spoiling the people out there now because they see still the time lapse which we are talking over.
So we can stop recording now, or what's the plan?
No, we're still recording.
Damn, this whole thing is going off script as a heck.
Yeah. Did we have a script?
No, that's true. We never do.
I never have a script.
No, that's actually true. Yeah, well, that's about my part this time. And, I think, as I said, I will jump in later, me alone, just explaining a tad bit more about the trigger stuff, because I feel like this is something that needs a bit more explanation, and I don't want to bore you guys with that. And I just would say, let me know what you think, first of all, you two, about what I did here. Is this what you expected, or I don't know. I just went, I was so hyped building that, so please just tell me.
Yeah, I can tell, because you've been putting in a lot of work. So definitely seems like you were very inspired. I really like it. I like the idea of having this very heavily themed Darkride section at the beginning of the ride. Just in general, these roller coasters that have this dense theming around the station at the start and the end of the ride, for me, is really cool. And I think the Darkride fits very well into the layout in general. In fact, I kind of feel like Gerstlauer coasters in real life could do this a little bit more. Some of the real life coasters like Carajo in Tripsdrill or Carnon in Hansa Park are quite limited to what they do with that indoor space, and I think something like this is actually really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I
would agree
as well. And honestly, I understand you completely. When I was starting with the first port and factory, I honestly couldn't stop building, but after a while I just had to stop and think about you guys, so that we didn't have an hour, 1 hour video. So
yeah, same. Yeah, it's just, that there was also the point where I thought, okay, you know what, I need to tidy this up now and hand this over to you, because else I would have gone even further. And the thing with moving further is always that you leave some open spaces that you need to fill in then again, and so you're just like exponentially filling in the space, which I don't know.
Yeah.
In space in terms of time, I mean.
Yeah.
And at some point you really have to cut an episode just to keep one general theme to the episode, I guess, as well. So this episode, the Darkride section at the start of the ride has really been the central element. So I think it's fine to also leave it here at this point. And I think it'll be up to me in the next episode probably to figure out support work for this coaster somehow.
Oh,
so
yes.
that should hopefully transition quite well into the next video.
Wonderful. Then I would say thanks a lot for being with me, guys.
It's been a pleasure.
And to all the other people, stick with me. I'll be jumping in-game now and give you a little bit of a live section. And for the next episode, you'll be able to see that again on Silv's channel, I guess, right? Awesome. Okay, so thanks, guys, and talk to you next time.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye, Rudi.
Alright, so as promised, here we are in the live part of today's episode number 3 of Stalevar, and thanks again to Mr. Silvarret, the person, and also Operateur, the Mr. He has too much detail. This is just insane. Well, the thing is, I thought it would be good to show you this whole thing now again in the real overview, kind of in-game, because I don't know why exactly, but recently it felt like that the game does look a bit weird in time lapses compared to what I do in real time, which is always a little bit because down to the fact that there is so much going on in the time lapse that you can't really spot every detail. And so this is what I'm doing now. I'm going to show you a little bit of what I've done here. So let's just go in here and look into the lower down launch section. So what I did do is on the right hand side and left hand side, it's kind of like water drainage systems. So if, because this is lower down and when there is rain, for example, that the water somewhat can go off. This is what this should be like. And also that we do have these pipes down here that can act also like water systems, whatever. And then the car is just propelled to this wonderful really nice first element that the coaster go through into the next elements, and you can get a few more sides of it, and then this is gone. So if we move further, this is just I built these two lower down sections in here, just as if they would have opened this from a bigger block of concrete before they then moved on. I also created a little bit of a it's not really backstage, but it's kind of an abandoned storage area which nobody did really take care of. I threw some garbage stuffs here and there, left some single pieces lying down here and there, and also started to have this railroad track going. I don't know if I continue this when it's again my turn, or maybe doing something else, because as we said, we didn't really want to make it too long, and this is also why I tried to finish as much as possible. But now I think that's what most people are interested in is the interior part. And so if we move slowly in here, you can see this is how it's looking at the end in daytime. So we are willing to change now to nighttime, because this is really important, since I use the time machine, and I will also give you a proper look to it at the end, because this makes things look nice. But as you can see, the coaster train goes in here. Now if we follow it, it does this roll over this tank top, whatever this is called in English, I have no idea, until it goes in here. That was an awesome job to hide away what they are experiencing, because I want to show this to you with the car, and then it's dropping down into the launch. Anyways, let's have a little bit of a look into the area itself. So what I created over here is that we do have this kind of production line, if you will, of these two rails over here to the left and right hand side. So this is where these would be delivered to. Then we will have all the machinery going on where people could continue assembling it, and we had these tanks that are obviously a little bit destroyed, and you know, steam's coming off of them, and with all these cables hanging around, and you know, there's also some trash going around from the wind in here, from all the steam blowing stuff around. I thought this would be a nice effect. And yeah, some stuff is overgrown. I try to keep it fairly easy with the overgrown stuff, so I didn't really want to create too much, but I thought a little bit of hanging flowers here and there would be nice, since if this has been abandoned for a few years, this would actually make a lot of sense. And yeah, I put some lights here and there, but not too many lights. I wanted to keep this fairly dark as well, to make sure that you know, the illusion isn't broken too much. And then we go into this area over here, where then the delivery area kind of stops, and then we go into this little bit of a pre-show sequence. And I think it's the best idea to just catch this car over here, and we put this back to normal time to show you, to show you how this is actually working. So we are going to jump. Oh, this is an awesome look. We are jumping into this car, and as you can see, well, you know what we do? We go into a car which is then car number 2. Yeah, let's just catch this car for a second and speed up the whole process. If we are going, okay, this will take a while now. Okay, speed it up even further, because I want to show you how this works with the sequencer. So now we are going forth and back again through the layout, and now we are getting into the last area. Let me just go to bumper view. That will make things look a bit better. So now, as we hit the station, you can see it's still daytime, it's still all normal. We go into the station, and then you will see how this turns out to be working. So we're going into the station building, and since I'm not really sure what we do, it turns black once we stand still. This was the idea, and now you can have a look. Oh, I have to adjust the timing here. I don't know what happened exactly. So yeah, we make the roll over here, go into this area, and now the train comes to a stop. And well, you have to see that way, because if we go to bumper cam from bumper cam to normal, there you go. It looks like a little bit of an effect, and then you get the boost effect, and it goes outside. So I'm gonna have a look to it off train to show you a bit better how this looks, because there's a bit more going on than only this. I will have to adjust this in the end to make it even more like it would look like if you would go straight and not downwards. But you know, we just wait for another train so I can show you what exactly is happening. There we go. So the train comes in here. There we go. And first of all, people, I just paused it quickly over here. So we have the steam effect, which also is pretty nice, because it kind of is, you know, the effect kind of is something like if you go into another area, you'd be cleaned up before. So the steam is maybe just making sure that something is cooled down before it's going into the next production step of a production line. That was the idea of having these, actually, you know, steam, maybe it's just cooling stuff, but I don't know. I thought it would be a cool thing. And then, as you can see, the lighting effects are happening as if you would go straight, and then they turn off. And I like the effect, I'm stopping it here, how this is just turning off as if there is something happening after this, but then all of a sudden the door opens and you fall down below that. And I thought the shaping of the track is really making great use of this effect, and then it goes outside, and obviously, as you've seen, the lighting is adjusted then again so that we are in a daytime outside. So yeah, that's basically all I can show you over here. There's not too much to show you. It was a hell lot of work, but I hope you enjoyed today's episode together with the two guys, and also me showing you this a little bit more in real time. And now I'll leave you alone with some cinematic shots, and see you next time, guys. Have a good day, and bye bye. Oh, and also make sure to check out Silv's channel, obviously, for next week's next episode. Until then, have a great time, and bye, guys.